Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy. It sounds like he's in his probably late 40s. He was married for a number of years to a woman who he thought at the time he had a great thing going. But his wife up and left, abandoning both him and his teenage son to go pursue her business interest. And you're going to see in this story, guys, how it doesn't exactly work out in her favor. And now, years later, after they're divorced and moved on, now because her business ventures have all failed, now she's back begging for a second chance, begging for this guy to take her back, even though she says at one point, and I quote, that you and my son are holding me back. And you're going to see in this story, guys, how this guy, when he got together with her, there were definite red flags, and he knew it. But reading between the lines, he let that shit go because of the amazing chemistry. Obviously, he was very good looking, a freak in the sheets, all that. And you're also going to see how she had one major giant red flag. There were red flags, but one giant one about money. This woman loved to spend money and lived way beyond her means, trying to keep up with the Joneses and all that, celebrities and all that. And who do you think financed that lifestyle? It wasn't her. And this all leads to a downward spiral that leads to the big event. So there's lots of very important lessons in this story, guys, about red flags, about if you're going to get married or be in a serious relationship, you take years to be with that gal to see what she's like for lots of reasons, especially with money. And if she is someone that just spends, lives beyond her means, she is not serious relationship material, especially wife material. Otherwise, you're going to be broke all the time. And also how, in this story, you're going to see how this guy would really support her lifestyle, but the one time he didn't, that's when she kicked him to the curb. But like I said, you're going to see, it doesn't exactly work out in her favor, and she comes back crying and begging for a second chance, and you guys will see how this whole thing plays out. So it starts off, he says, hello there, SSM. You can call me Mike. I've been a listener to your channel since the pandemic started, and I've been hooked ever since. It was actually my 18-year-old son who showed me your channel as he was studying RP content. Today, I'd like to share a personal story with you that has affected me and my son's life in a major way. My wife and mother of my child left me to follow her dreams. She watched too many reality TV shows about house flipping and celebrity lives and became obsessed about living like them. Let's call my ex Lana. I met her while we were both in college, and she took up a major in theater and production design. Theater and production design? Okay. It was kind of like a whirlwind romance. Something out of the movies, and we got hitched 2 years after graduation. Let me do it for you. Smack. Yeah, dude. Smack. You were young, and like you say, got caught up in the whirlwind romance. And I'm sure her looks and her body and the fact that you acknowledge this later on in the story, she was a freak in the sheets or something like that, definitely had something to do with you getting hitched 2 years later. What the hell are you going to learn about her in just 2 years? Okay, you can learn a lot in 2 years, but it's going to be way longer than that. And you said after 2 years after graduation, so I'm guessing mid-20s, way too damn young. But you didn't know any better. You probably didn't have anybody to warn you about those types of things. So this is why I do what I do, to warn other young guys not to make the same mistakes. He says, everything at the start was great. If I had $1 for every time I read a story that somebody said that, I could retire right now. Retire and live on like Lake Como in fucking Italy or something. I noticed some red flags I should have acted upon but didn't. For starters, she lived way above her means. And he wrote that in giant bold letters. She didn't make as much money as she refused to do salaried work or regular jobs. In her field, however, she always bought designer clothes, bags, and drove a Benz. Instead, Lana would opt to do things for famous people, influencers, social media stars, actors, etc., and work with them, sometimes for free just to get clout or exposure to increase her notoriety within her so-called industry. Since she was skilled, of course, she was offered jobs that weren't as exciting, but paid really good. However, she declined because she thought that it would not help her improve her career, as they were usually behind-the-scenes jobs or administrative work. So, here's that question, and we all know the answer to this, and I know the answer to this. Who paid for her lifestyle? Who paid for her Mercedes? Who paid for her designer clothes? Her handbags, her purses, her shoes. Who paid for all that? We all know this guy did. Beautiful, fun, everything was great. It's one thing if she makes a ton of dough, and after paying all expenses, her share living expenses, and puts money away for retirement and all that, then has fun with some things like handbags and shoes and things like that. But no, she's not in no way, shape, or form able to afford this. But this guy's paying for it to make her happy. And this guy's a good guy. Absolutely. He's doing what a lot of guys would do. He just wants to make her happy. Well, there's no making her happy here. She just wants more and more and more. And again, wait till you see when the one time he says no to her, what she does. This all could have been avoided if he spent more time with her before he got married and saw that she was a person that was like this. Signs like this, guys, is when you run. There's lots of signs to run from a potential marriage with someone like this. Right here, the spending thing. It's going to make you broke. And these people don't change. It's a freaking disease. And I'm not saying disease so they can have some kind of a way out of accountability, but it really is. I've known people like this. Anyhow, he says, second, she loved living a pseudo-celebrity lifestyle. For about 15 years, she followed the trends of young people, TikTok, Instagram, Vine, etc., and also replicated their daily routines. Starbucks every day in the morning, different designer outfits every day, etc. Again, my friend, you paid for this, and a smack to you for paying for this and not laying down the law. Say get a freaking job. Get a serious job that can at least pay for these things. But you know what? If she got a different job or career that she was making money that could pay for those things, she would just, instead of having a Mercedes, she would have a more expensive vehicle. She would have even more expensive jewelry, watches, handbags, shoes. You get the point. There's no stop to this. And she wants to be a celebrity, but she's not a freaking celebrity. However, she was hot, took care of her body, was a great mother, and was a PORN star in bed. So I let all those red flags slide, thinking that no one was perfect and this was just her flaws. There you go. Plenty of men before you, brother, and plenty of men after you, brother, are going to do the same thing just because the chick is hot, great body, and she knows. She knows she's damn good looking. She knows that her looks and her body and being a freak in the sheets can get her whatever the hell she wants. You get to a point, guys, that men have lived long enough to realize, like, that shit just isn't worth the aggravation. But when we're younger, we all make boneheaded mistakes. So for the younger guys watching this, don't make these mistakes. It's a body. It's a piece of ass. It can get old real quick. Trust me. And by the way, all this shit isn't just like a minor flaw. This is a big deal. This was all right, though, since I was very fortunate and hardworking in my career in software development. I was able to sustain her lifestyle without going into debt. I'm a very frugal man who only has one expensive hobby, which is computers, and I only spend on a new computer every 3 to 6 years. I make around $190,000 to $210,000 US in a year, with incentives and third-party commissions, while she makes around $50 to $70 US in a year. There you go. And good job for you for doing well for yourself, man. That's a very nice, comfortable life. And you said you're a frugal guy. You had to be frugal because she was a shopaholic, okay? I mean, I bet she was probably having packages coming in every day from UPS or FedEx or whatever. They probably knew her like they knew their family. I've known people like this. Yeah, you had to be frugal because of her. And imagine how much money you would have had saved if you married a gal who just, would spend on occasion, but was like you in terms of, you'd probably be able to retire pretty soon. However, around 2017, you could already guess that she was easily influenced by a movement. What movement could you be referring to? I made friends with a bunch of young, free-spirited people. One of them was a man who we'll call Paul, who was about 10 years younger than her, who gave her ideas about flipping houses and starting a real estate business that would eventually become a TV show or something. A way for her to get famous. That's what she's been yearning for all along. Lana kept insisting on this idea, but the moment I saw the business plan drafted up, I saw so many inconsistencies and holes in the plan that I'd be an idiot to even entertain this idea. When I outright rejected the business idea, our marriage started to crumble, and around 2018, she asked for a divorce. So for all these years, you have been supporting her lifestyle, her ridiculous lifestyle of the clothes, trying to be like celebrities. I mean, I don't need to go all through it again, but you get my point. And the one time you say no, That's it. The marriage crumbles. Probably no more SCX with her smoking hot body in the bed. Done. Over. That shows you who she is. That shows you the quality of person she is. Now, remember how this guy supported her all this time, and she knows that this guy, she has a perception of who this man is, and this is going to come back later on. Lana told me and our son that we were holding her from realizing her dreams and destiny, and she needed to find herself. This broke our son's heart, and for the rest of the year he would have little to no contact with his mother. Well, who can blame him if his mom told him that her son, is holding her back from her destiny? This is the one woman that he should be able to trust to have his back no matter what. So you guys can see, while this guy's son became RP'd in an early age, do you think he's ever going to trust women again? Do you think he's ever going to see him in the same light that he did when the woman that should have his back the most betrayed him and abandoned him, so to go follow her dream to be like some attention-craving celebrity? Broke her son's heart, blah, blah, blah. Then came that Lana then became a horrible mother and wife until we eventually divorced in early 2019. It went to mediation, and she actually offered me a deal of a lifetime. I had to pay an absurd lump sum of money, and she would write off all claims to alimony and child support. I was skeptical about giving her money, but my lawyer said it was a short-term hit for long-term financial freedom. So I agreed, and we went our separate ways. Dude, that is the right deal, because no more alimony, no more child support. You took a hit in the short term, but you're a frugal guy doing well for yourself in an industry where you're going to make more as time goes on. And you know where that money's going to go to. She's going to use that money to invest in her house-flipping real estate business with this Paul character. And now you're no longer on the hook for a dime going forward. So the short-term hit was worth it. He says, our son was the most affected by this. However, after some therapy and counseling, he soon recovered and even fixed his relationship with his mother. However, I believe that his mom leaving us and telling him that he was holding her back turned him into the R pill so early in life. That's exactly what happened. You know, if there's a silver lining to this whole thing, this guy got a very hard but very valuable lesson early on in life. And do you think he's going to forget this? Hell no. And every time he gets involved, he dates or he gets involved with a relationship with a woman, he's never going to forget this. He got the best example of a very ugly side of female nature. Does that mean that every single gal is going to behave like her? Of course not, but a lot do in varying degrees. He's not going to be fooled again. Anyway, as I suspected, Lana used the lump sum of money to jumpstart the business with her friends and her new boyfriend, Paul. Not sure if she cheated on me during the end of our marriage, but at this point, I don't really care anymore. She probably did. But what I did notice was how much money I actually had and how much more I could put away in my savings now that Lana was gone. As previously mentioned, I'm very frugal, but I did buy a new Toyota Camry and made renovations to my house to fit my new single lifestyle. Bro, you earn the right to treat yourself on occasion. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, you notice how much money you're saving because she's not buying all this bullshit. I also had more money to help support my son and his passions that he could possibly turn into businesses. He's currently into 4 languages and e-commerce. Eventually, he got his own place just late last year as COVID restrictions were dying down, and he's now working online while attending college classes with the hopes to work internationally once the world goes back to normal. With a backup plan that he works as a software designer with the help of some of my connections. Good. Your son is on his grind. That's what I want all the guys watching this. You know, everybody's different in terms of the time frame they can make things happen for themselves, but as long as you're making the effort, guys, then good. I think your son learned this from my channel. I hope. So now to present day. Lana out of nowhere asked if we could have dinner as a family recently. We could sit down and have dinner as a family, and recently it was about a month ago. It was weird as our son doesn't live with me anymore and he hasn't spoken to me in months. I believe it was for our son, at least I thought she was going to surprise him or something, so I agreed and met with her at a cafe with our son. You have no obligation to meet with her again. Remember, this is the same woman who all those years you took care of everything to make her happy, which you could never make her happy, and the one time you turned her down, she's done with you. And all of a sudden, you're holding her back. And your son is holding her back from her destiny. Why the hell would you sit down and have dinner with her? And I know you were saying probably because your son, but your son is now an adult. Grown-ass man. He doesn't need you there. And you're going to see, guys, what this guy deals with by sitting down and having dinner with her. So I agreed, and we met at a cafe with my son. When I got there, she was already with our son, and she looked like she was holding back her tears. Ah, here we go. I thought she was just emotional about something, so I asked, "What's up?" And basically, she began to start singing the blues. In summary, her business had failed, and she didn't make enough to sustain her lifestyle anymore. She lost her luxury apartment. She's currently living with her aunt now. Oh, and she was still deeply in love with me. She said all that in the span of 5 minutes. There was more to conversation, but it was mostly her blabbering about injustices or something, and I don't remember the rest because it was a bunch of BS anyways. She asked if we could start over and rekindle our relationship back to what it was 3 years ago. She told me how she's grown as a woman and won't make the same mistakes as she did before, and that she just needs a bit of help, attention, and validation from us now in her trying times. What a load of crap. The only reason she is back is because her business failed. She's broke. She can't live that lifestyle that you provide. She can't live that lifestyle that she wanted to make on her own. So now she's going back to what she considers to be a sure thing for you to take her back in open arms, and then she can go back to having her Mercedes-Benz and her clothes and lifestyle and everything like that to mooch off you. That's what's going on. I'm sure you know this dude, and maybe wanted me just to confirm this, but that's what's going on. And you'd be out of your damn mind if you took her back, okay? After what she did to you. Remember, you're the one that was holding her back, supposedly. You and your son, her own son. That goes to show you how much love she has in her heart for you or her son. All those years, you provide all that stuff to make her happy, and you never can make her happy. And the one time you say no, you're toast. Don't even think about it. And oh yeah, the whole tears thing, the last line of defense. It says, I'm not really the confrontational type, but I flat out refused since I actually liked my life without her in the picture. She tried to use my son as leverage, but he walked out on us. Good for your son. Your son has been born again hard. I asked Lana to please consider her son's emotions, as what she had previously put him through has scarred him. Lana instead made it all about her and how she's struggling the most right now, and how her son doesn't have the right to feel bad because he's living a good life right now. Of course she made it all about her. She's a freaking narcissist. She abandoned the son. And he has every reason to walk out on her, but see, she wants that lifestyle. She doesn't give a shit. There are sadly people like that in this world, even if they're mothers. And of course she made it all about her. The meeting was a disaster, and I left a couple minutes after my son did. Good for you, dude. Lana, of course, still messages me about having some empathy and helping her out, but I've just been ignoring her since. My son, on the other hand, feels like shit and tells me that his mother is just using him for her benefit, which demoralizes him. Your son is right. As hard as that is for him to admit, at least he can admit it. Okay, that takes a tremendous amount of maturity and being RP'd to do that. I mean, no son wants to admit his mom is that way. I guess in some way I wanted Lana to have some sort of karma, but I didn't wish for her to lose everything. She made bad business decisions and tried to start a house flipping company just before the pandemic happened. However, that is not my fault, and from what she tells me, I can assume that it was her fault for losing half of the capital, as Paul ran off with most of it when the business went under. Karma, karma, karma. And I can tell you right now, she probably, with that capital to start that business, was still using that money that was meant for business to sustain her lifestyle and all that lifestyle that she wanted to have. And very quickly deplete the resources, amongst many other things. So now I'm contemplating what to do next. My son wants to meet with his mother again to give him a piece of his mind, basically to bash her and her choices, but I feel like we should just leave her be for now. Your son's a grown-ass man, and if your son wants to say what he has to say to her, all these things, he has every right, and you shouldn't stand in his way. It's his choice. Lana has been asking for financial support from me again, and even though I'm legally free from her, I do feel like I at least owe her in some way, as she gave me 14 years of a relatively good marriage. Smack. Bro, have you not read your story? Those 14 years of marriage that she gave you that you said were good were on the condition that you kept financing her lifestyle. And the second that she asked you to do that thing and you said no for once, she was out of there. So don't, you know, I'm glad you're looking through the past with rose-colored glasses. That's what you're doing. And because you're a good man, you feel bad because the mother of your child is hurting. But she brought this all on herself, everything. And you can't tell me that she can't get some kind of job and turn things around. The problem is that she wants to have a certain lifestyle up here that you provided, and she can't have that on her own. So she's come back to the one which she thinks is a sure thing. Do not let her crying and manipulation and bullshit weaken you to give in to her, because she's a user, okay? She's using you. She's trying to use you. She's trying to use your son and pull at your heartstrings and manipulate you guys to get what she wants. End of story. If her business hadn't failed, if it had succeeded in the way that she wanted it and could sustain her lifestyle, do you think she'd be back? Not a chance in hell. So don't you give her a penny. If I find out you give her anything, I'm going to track you down. I'm going to slap the shit out of you right there, man. Don't do it, okay? You're a good guy. I know you feel bad for her on some level because you're a good guy, and good guys have empathy in them, but no freaking way. He says here, that being said, I'm still adamant about not giving her a single cent, nor giving her any attention or validation. Okay, thank the Lord. But I do feel bad for her, since she basically brought her own life to ruins in 3 short years to horrible business investments, living a celebrity lifestyle, and the movement. Well, that's her own problem if she was trying to live a certain lifestyle she couldn't afford. That's on her. And I don't want to hear because this guy provided that, therefore she got used to that, and poor her. No, bullshit. She was like this when they first met. So again, this goes back to show you guys about the red flags, about people that, and this can go either way. If I got women watching me, and you're dating a guy that lives beyond his means, because I know guys that live beyond their means, and you think they're going to change once you get together, bullshit. They're not going to change. I would like to hear your opinions about what I should do next and what I could tell my son to get him to calm down about his mother. Who knows, he might even watch the video, as he is also a subscriber to your channel. Thank you, SSM. Have a blessed day. Well, yeah, definitely tell your son, when this video publishes, send it to your son. And I'll tell your son right this. Your son is a grown-ass man who learned some very tough lessons early on about female nature, the ugly, ugly side of female nature. And I'd tell your son that he's a grown-ass man, and if he doesn't want to have anything to do with her, or he wants to give her a piece of his mind for abandoning him, and then now years later, obviously using him to get with you so she can go back to having the lifestyle she's used to, he has every right. So don't stand in his way. No freaking way. And as for you, my man, do not give her a freaking penny, okay? Do not make... We all can make mistakes through our lives, but we're fucking dumbasses if we keep making the same mistakes twice. Do not give her any money, because she'll be back for more. Mark my words. Number 2, do not get back with her or anything like that, okay? You went through a lot. You're on your own now. You said you like the lifestyle. You're doing well. You got plenty of money coming in because you're frugal. You make darn good income, and you're putting it away. That's it. If it means you got to block her, well, I would recommend you do block her and everything like that, and she can fix it. She had her shot with you. You were great with her. That's it. End of story. Because otherwise, you give her any hope, you give her a penny. She'll be back for more. Guaranteed. You know, if you say, okay, here's a one-time thing, amount of money to help you get back on your feet, she'll be back for more. She'll be off getting handbags or getting new shoes or something like that. You know, let her be somebody else's problem. Okay, her family. So that's what I think. Move on. Don't entertain that shit, you know. And I'm sorry it happened to you, man. But again, your story will guarantee help some guys out there. Remember about the red flags and enabling people's behavior and the whole spending thing. Because again, you were a good guy. You wanted to do nice things for her and all that. And obviously because she was hot and a great body and a freak in the sheets, you know, that was a powerful motivator. That has moved men since the moment we became into being, human beings. Women have been able to get their way because they're smoking hot bodies being freaky in the sack with guys. And they will do that to the end of time until the earth is done with us. So, guys, to all the guys out there, learn this lesson and be careful. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough about that. So make the right decision, bro, and don't stand in your son's way, because your son is a grown man, and if he wants to not have anything to do with her or read her the riot act, he has every right. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me what you think about this. Let this guy know in the comment section. Don't give her any money. Don't, give this guy some support. This guy knows deep down not to do it, but still there's a part of him that's, conflicted and all that. Help him out, guys. Set him straight. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.